had started with a career in fashion. That's how I moved to New York City, and decided that I needed to go back to school and get an education. And I just chose my major based on what was important to me at the time, and political science, things like human rights and social justice were what I wanted to focus on.
My father had the chance to finance me and my brother. He opened a business that me and my brother were running, and it was about marketing and advertising. At that point, I started realizing that the major that I was in Albania, which was architecture, was not really the major I wanted to be into.
So I took gender and communications one semester with Professor Wyckoff, and it was amazing because I had always had these ideas about the way that gender influences our world. And then I had this class and I was like, oh my gosh, it's not just me. Like, this can branch off into other things.
I picked my major in like a really hasty manner because I was originally just enrolled as a liberal arts major, and like I saw an ad for the new major. I wanted to have a more like tailored experience, not something that was like super broad like liberal arts would be, and it was something that really aligned with like my personal views of like social justice that I found really interesting, and it kind of all worked out in that manner.
One very important office was the Center for Career Development. This is where I met with Mr. Terry. He helped me with some job research that I needed.
I didn't really know at the time a lot about the education system here, and so I relied heavily on advisors, and then I really started to ask a lot of questions to my professors because they became my mentors. Thanks to a lot of really fantastic recommendation letters from my professors here, and just a lot of guidance, I was able to get into an Ivy League school, University of Pennsylvania, and then I transferred directly from here.
I became a mom at BMCC, and there were a lot of times that things were a little rough. So it was really helpful to be able to know that I could go to Single Stop and get support that I needed, whether it's connecting me to HRA services or what have you. It was very, very, very helpful.
When I signed up for the major, one of my first classes was with Dr. Wyckoff, Brianne, who I found like really kind and smart and like super inspirational. The capstone project was with her as well, and that was like a really close team. It was only like 4 students in it, so we ended up just like meeting in her office, and like that was really nice, and it ended up blossoming into like a little bit of a friendship and mentorship.
Grandmother passed, I became a mom, I broke my foot, I was like on crutches coming to class. So I had a really wild time while I was here. Anytime something was going on, if I connected with my professor and I was like, hey, this is what's happening, or, you know, they would either point me in the direction of services, or they would just give me a listening ear, which sometimes you need that when you're a student.
You feel completely alone for a minute because you're going back to school, you're kind of starting something new, this really exciting, hopefully successful chapter in your life, but you're doing it completely alone. And then you get here to this area where it is just full of life and young people with kind of the same goals or the same excitement towards going to school.
I was just really anxious constantly. Like, this is such a massive school. Like, literally tens of thousands of people are enrolled here at any given time. It's like very different from a lot of other schooling experiences.
It's the fact that I'm an international student and I pay an out-of-state tuition. How I overcome this struggle is, one of them was finding a job on campus that really helped me, and well, the other is the great scholarship opportunities that we have at BMCC.
It was Tracy Lander-Garrett who, I took her class in this very building, and Jeff Klock and Maureen Matarese, who all of them were really kind of the drivers behind me understanding my potential as not only a writer but as a scholar. I think that I was able to get my point across and how passionate I was about social justice and human rights, and none of that would have happened if I didn't have their guidance.
In the short term, I see myself in a four-year college, getting a degree that's strictly related to business. It may be accounting, it may be finance, it may be international business. But what I really see myself out of the school is into entrepreneurship.
I was able to learn how to network properly with fellow students as well as professors. And I was also able to understand the way that you can take whatever your circumstances and apply it to the world.
My personal goals right now really revolve around gender justice and issues around that. I think that obviously being from California and then now living in New York, I feel like I've been constantly surrounded by like a pretty liberal mindset, but at the same time, I think that a lot of gender issues that are like at the forefront of what we're dealing with are things that could be really affected by policy. So I'm really interested in finishing Columbia and going to law school and pursuing that as a career.